The fact that you're watching this show proves that you are a serious rugby fan. Local interest in the World Cup plummeted after Japan shot down the Springboks in Brighton. Our man Tank Lanning was there in the flesh to see the boys crash and burn. Tank, hell of a start. What are your thoughts? What was the vibe like? Did you make it out alive?
Look, the vibe was actually sensational. You know, it had turned away from being a Bok drama to just a magnificent occasion for the Japanese. And, you know, as we've all seen on TV now, I mean, the guys were crying. It was just such a magnificent rugby occasion. And, you know, one of the commentators, I watched the rerun yesterday, said, you know, it was, you know, theatre of the most magnificent proportions, or rugby theatre. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
However, that is just unacceptable from the Springboks. I mean, you got to close those games out. You got to shut them out. You know, sure, but the All Blacks taught us, okay, in adversity, bring on a nice bench, close it out, win the game, guys.
Totally. I mean, just in terms of the performance, it looked like they'd played 2 matches earlier in the day. The guys were flat. Japan are making 5 to 10 meters on every carry. I mean, what was going on?
You know, for me, the most massive concern is, you know, Eddie Jones is getting a whole lot of praise, but let's just hold the phone.
Yeah.
All he did was bring in the wall of Cape Town, like the Stormers did in 2012, use the chop tackle and be very, very organised, passionate and enthusiastic. And the biggest concern for Hanneke, I think, is that's all it took to shut down the Springboks.
Yeah, most experienced team in Springbok history. We went out there, we made more carries, made fewest tackles, lost to Japan. We got a chance to turn that around this week with Samoa. What has to happen?
Look, I think Samoa is less of the unknown, and I think they'll probably do a little bit more ball carrying than the Japanese did, and they've got some big bruises of their own. But that's what the Boks are good at handling.
Yeah.
You know, they'll tackle that. But again, there was more width to that final Japanese try that got them that momentous win than we had seen from the Springboks all day.
Yeah.
And I do think that we've got to move away from the one-off runners round the corner and try and get a bit more width into the attack. Habana has got to get into the game. And also, you know, what the All Blacks do is that they kick so wonderfully well from 13, even from 15 out wide. So you pull in a backline, pull in the defence, chip over.
Grass all over the place.
Exactly, plenty of grass. Yeah. You've got a little grabber or a chip, and then you've got plenty of people coming from the inside and the outside, a pincer movement. I don't remember the Springboks doing that at all.
Yeah.
We seem to always kick from 9 and 10, and it's very, very sort of similar. So I think going forward, okay, the old injured men have to come right, but we also have to add some width to that attack.
Yeah, you're heading back to the World Cup for more of the same, the quarterfinals. Yeah. This last trip that you were there to cap off an amazing journey. Ron Rutland doing a 2.5-year journey, cycling through the whole of Africa to get to this World Cup for that disappointing result. Just, that must have been an amazing experience.
I've got goosebumps thinking about it right now. I mean, it was just the most tremendous week. You know, one of the great weeks of my life. And as you say, so Ron Rutland started 2 years ago. I was with him. He started off the Cape Town Stadium, rode to Franschhoek, and from there went through every single country in Africa in order to get to Brighton. And I was privileged to spend those last few days with him.
No, you had a chat with him while you were there. That you grabbed.
Exactly, yeah. We had a chat at the Brighton Hotel.
Also, you grabbed this clip.
Yeah.
On the 30th of June 2013, I cycled out of Cape Town Stadium with the ambition of cycling through every country in Africa to get here to Brighton to watch the Springboks play in the Rugby World Cup. It was the most incredible 800 days imaginable, garnering support, with all due respect to Namibia, Africa's team at the Rugby World Cup. I met, I would say, thousands of people en route. I wore my Springbok jersey en route. I met thousands of people who recognized the jersey, and it's incredible how many bizarre, like rural rugby pitches there are in places like Chad and Niger and Uganda. You know, it's like parts of the Karoo when you see these old rural rugby posts sticking out of the felt. But the most incredible journey. It's completely changed me in many ways. But delighted to be here for the Rugby World Cup and looking forward to a successful Springbok campaign.
Yeah, pretty damn awesome.
That's amazing.
And the one thing that I didn't actually know was that he had messages from John Smith and Francois Pienaar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so check out this clip.
Part of the ride of riding to the World Cup was carrying very important messages of support from John Smith and Francois Pienaar. Very kindly wrote letters addressed to the team of 2015, which I sealed in envelopes and packed in my packed in a laminated envelope. I've obviously no idea what they said, but it was a great privilege for me to be able to carry these messages of support to the team of 2015 from two of our greatest captains, and obviously two Rugby World Cup winning captains. And it was a great privilege as well for Jean to take 2 minutes out of his day yesterday, leading up to today's match, to receive those letters. And I hope in a tiny little way, they lend some support to the wave of support coming from down south.
Jeez, that's lovely stuff, eh?
Oh, eh?
Wow, that must have been amazing. I wonder what was in those letters.
Oh, no, we left ask him after the tournament.
Watch out! Wow, incredible. Okay, so I mean, you did the cycle trip from France to England. You guys obviously ferried across the channel. That must have been an amazing experience. Was it just you and Ron, or who else was there?
No, it was awesome. So there were 65 of us, including two absolute legends. Most props, you'd think their rugby heroes would be the flattier ducks. But mine was a certain Morne du Plessis for whatever reason. Yeah. One of the Springbok greats, and now in the Rugby Hall of Fame. He's brought into it on Sunday after the All Black game. And it was just so awesome to have him and Hugo Porter as part of the ride.
Wow.
So so I got to spend, and we've become quite good mates, because he had me on his tail working my ass off for those 200 Ks. But once we got to Brighton, we had a few beers, we had a couple of bacon and eggs, and I managed to catch up with Morne. And one of the things I asked him was, what are the moments of 95? He obviously was the manager. Yeah. And I managed to have a chat to him at the hotel.
I, as the manager of the team, was last out the change room, and that dark tunnel that goes onto Ellis Park, long tunnel. And as I was in that tunnel, just hearing a chant that I couldn't quite place at the time, but when I got out, the teams had lined up, two teams had lined up, obviously, for the anthems, and this chant of Nelson, 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 and I just, to this day, feel that moment as quite a special moment in our time, in our country, when 70,000 predominantly white people were chanting the name of their president, and it was a life moment.
More goosebumps.
Yeah, wow, that must have been incredible to be in that tunnel.
And this was, it was obviously prior to the Bok game against Japan, but I kind of just asked him his thoughts, and we managed to meet up with a few crazy Frenchmen, and you must hear this story.
For us, I would think the first step is just to get to those semi-finals, and then to take it from there. And unfortunately, there's so much that you can't control, and just to be prepared for the unexpected and take it as it comes, and that's where experience does come in. So I'm quietly optimistic as a French man on the side of the road on our cycle here with Ron. Rutland told us he had put just a guy in a tea shop. He hauled out a broker's note, bookie's note, and he said, "I've got €100 on the Springboks, on Les Springboks." And I mean, he got it at 7-1, and I think it's a best bet a guy could have taken.
Not sure about that bet paying off.
Yeah, that guy must be a little bit concerned right now. He's going to be sweating bullets for the Samoa game at the weekend. Wow. Okay. Well, guys, that's it for this week. We are obviously going to continue to track the World Cup. We hope that the next time we chat, the Boks have pulled up and are back in contention. Be sure to go check out vodacomrugby.co. We've got an awesome
new site.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you can go and rate the Springboks.
Precisely, that's what I was going to get to.
Hell's bells.
I can't believe you just jumped in like that.
Sorry, buddy.
Jeez.
I'll leave it to the pros.
I see some of those ratings. The public have rated guys a lot lower than the pros, and except for some, it's actually quite an interesting setup.
It's been awesome. It's Lotte Jager way ahead of the rest, but a couple of notes, couple of threes, couple of twos.
Yeah, I saw that about Lotte Jager. His ratings were obviously high. The public loved his performance, but some of those other guys got some really low ratings. So, oof. Hopefully this week the guys can pick it up. The ratings go up, so be sure to check in there and log in with your views, and we'll see you for the next episode of Think Tank next week. Until then, ciao.